Welcome back to Business Education Unfiltered BU podcast. Today we have a truly inspiring guest with us who has captured moments, built brands, and turned her passion into a thriving business. She's an award-winning commercial photographer and a wedding photographer, the founder of The Bride's Diary, and an expert in everything from food to products to a bunch of things that you can think of. Amruta, thank you so much for joining us. Before we dive into the incredible journey and the insights, we would like to kick things off with a little icebreaker for us and for the audience, the creative audiences that are there. It's called One Shot, One Story. So, are you ready?
Yes, absolutely.
Super. So, what's the one time a client changed their mind last minute?
Okay, so this is a very interesting story. We were in Dubai. We had booked a place like for the pre-wedding, and the entire crew had reached the place. We waited for an hour, and the client says, "You're not coming, and you enjoy the space."
Really?
So we had a gala time in the place, and it to top it all, it was my birthday, so
Wow,
we
perfect.
had to. So it turned out to be a perfect thing.
Nice. So the most unexpected subject that you have ever photographed?
So this was a campaign for Cadbury. Usually when a photography brief comes to us, they want you to make their products look good.
Correct.
The agency brief was make it look as bad as possible.
Oh,
And for me to make food look bad was the
Challenging.
last thing that I would want to do. But it was for a public welfare campaign that they were working on. So they really wanted to show that people really come up with bad ideas to combine food or make food fusion. So that was the whole brief for the campaign.
wow. Make the product look bad.
Look bad.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay, the most surprising thing that you have learned about people from behind your lens.
So the most introverted people turn out to be the best behind the in front of the camera. Is what I've learned, because when you talk to a person, sometimes they won't talk to you, but then when you put them in front of the camera,
Yeah.
they are
Their whole
really
new,
good. They are
like
really
personality,
good.
right?
Yes.
Like very different.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so your secret to getting a shy subject to open up in front of the lens.
So what I usually do is I spend 15-20 minutes or whatever time I can with that person, get them comfortable, talk about things that they are interested in, and that's, I think, what makes them open up in front of the camera also.
Nice. So the secret sauce is to spend some time with them.
Spend some time with them.
Before. Nice. Then the one piece of advice that you wish you knew before starting, your photography business.
So in photography school, we were always taught about the technical aspects, and we were always taught about the art and the tech, but we were never taught about business. So I think this is something all the photography schools should introduce in their curriculum, that yes, business is more important than the art as well at times.
Your work has seen it all, right? Like right from weddings to photography to food photography to like products. There are so many different verticals, from commercial giants like Coke, Starbucks, and intimate artistry of like a wedding, So could you tell us more about the moment when you first picked up the camera and realized ki, yes, this is what I want?
So I've been always inclined towards art since my childhood. So I was very sure that I wanted to do something in art. So I used to always paint more than maths or science or studying all of that. I used to always paint. And then slowly I figured that I really like taking pictures as well. So I had this basic Kodak camera, which I used to take pictures with. And then probably when I was 14-15, I figured out that looking at visuals makes me really like want to study them and understand how the process is, what the process is behind it. So I think that's when I started discovering what exactly it takes to be a photographer. So right after my 10th standard, I got into commercial arts and studied photography then.
Right after your 10th?
Yes.
Oh, so 12th वगैरह नहीं किया?
So 12th किया.
That was Nice. So, was there a specific turning point where you decided that you want to transform this passion of yours into like a full-fledged business?
Yes. So again, when you study commercial arts, you have a lot of subjects to
Go
explore,
through.
and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
you have illustration, or you want to do typography. There were a couple
Yeah.
of things when we were studying,
Yeah.
but photography was always something that I wanted to do, and so there's this exact moment I can tell you when I wanted to be a photographer and a food photographer particularly. So I was sitting in the library. Those days we did not have, fortunately we did not have social media as a distraction that
Yeah.
time. So I was sitting in the library, I was going through a certain book, and then I found a particular picture of a photographer, and I was so hooked to that picture
Mm,
that I thought I really wanted to be a food photographer.
nice.
And then this was in 2008. Cut to 2015, I wrote a letter. I wrote a mail to this photographer that, hey, I really like your style. I've really studied all these years and trying to adapt to what you are doing. So I wrote an email. 2 days later, he was like, "Why don't you come and study with me?" And this photographer
No,
was from
really?
the USA, and,
Wow.
that's when I went there and studied with him.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
amazing, man. That's like a dream come true, man.
Yes,
For
absolutely.
everyone.
Like he has been my mentor ever since I started, and like an idol for me.
Crazy. I mean, if you would have never asked, you would have never been like,
Yes.
nice. Um, so basically, many of our listeners are passionate about photography in general or videography, but might be hesitant to take that, step into business. So, what are the fundamental skills that you think beyond just technical camera knowledge or like the composition? Do you believe that these are absolutely essential for someone to start a business in photography? Yeah.
Okay, so as an artist, most of us lack that salesy mindset. So I think that's very important to excel as a photographer in this age where there's a lot of competition. So even if you are a great artist or a great photographer, unless you go out in the market and sell aggressively, you're not going to get as much work.
So, have you come across any people who don't know much about photography but have built businesses? Or like, for example, there can be like a producer, like in films there are they don't know much technicalities about the instrument, the camera itself,
Yeah.
but they know the overarching theme. But have you come across any such people who are like producers of photography?
Yes, absolutely. I've seen people who are excelling, like they have tons of work, and they have been doing great with like they have the biggest brands. And I've learned from them that unless you market yourself really well, you won't be able to sell your skill.
So how do you, in current day and age, how do you like kind of like the business, how do you market your business?
So most of it is Instagram. I put out my work on a daily basis or weekly basis out, and that's where the agencies come and approach.
Oh, so people do approach straight up from
Yes.
like agencies approach.
Agencies, brands as well get in
Okay.
touch on Instagram for their work.
So how does the general cycle work? Say suppose if I'm a client, and if I want to be photographed by say you, so how does the workflow look like? Do I go through, are you endorsed by like not endorsed is a wrong word, but does an agency kind of approach you? Does a client approach you directly? Do you only get work from a particular channel, or like how are things, or is it a mixed bag of everything? Like what is it?
So yeah, so it's a mixed thing. I have a lot of friends who work with agencies, so that's how I get work through agencies. Then there are a lot of direct brands that I work with also.
Nice. So you have done your bachelor's in tourism studies and master craftsman in photography. How was your formal education combined with the specialized photography training that you did influenced your approach towards business and the creative work that you're doing?
So I studied tourism because I love to travel. And combining travel tourism with photography is always something a photographer would love to do.
Yeah.
So what I do is every year I take a trip where I just shut off everything else and just take a trip to get more inspiration from the places, understand the cultures, talk to people, and just understand how differently the world works than where I'm usually working in on a daily basis.
I'm
So
sure
that's like
traveling. Yeah, I'm sure traveling helps quite a bit because
yes,
it's like your mind just opens up. Like,
opens
oh
up.
my god, this is something that I've been missing out on, and it teaches you so much, right? Like
Right.
every time you travel. When you first kind of started out, what were some of the biggest challenges that you faced in getting your photography business like kicked off, and what are the practical advices that you would have to someone who's starting out a similar venture?
So back when I started in 2007, it was difficult because as a woman, it was difficult because people did not easily trust women photographers back then.
Yeah,
If you see
yeah.
commercial as well as wedding, back then, people were very much hesitant on trusting women because of the time constraints with the kind of schedules we have. Uh, I think it's a lot more easier these days to get into the field. So I think back then, mostly my challenge was to convince people that even as a woman, I can perform. I do have the technical knowledge and try it out, and then you can see the results.
And I mean, I'm sure like when you started, this thing existed quite a bit, like sexism existed quite a
Yes.
bit, but now I mean, at least in when I go on sets, I don't see that much of a differentiator that is there, so it's much easier, like you said,
Yeah, it's quite an inclusive
yeah, yeah,
environment right
yeah, yeah,
now.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's very healthy
Yeah,
for
yeah.
all of us. So yeah, you have like you said, right? Like you have successfully carved out like a niche for in both commercial as well as wedding, and you are an expert in food and product. So how did you identify these specific areas? What was the process did you follow to establish yourself as an expert in all of these? Like for example, when I think, okay, I want to get into this, or I want to get into this, like how did you explore this is what I love? Like food, though you obviously
Yeah,
said,
yeah.
but what are the other aspects as well?
So, food, I always loved cooking. So, I
Oh.
think as a food photographer, it is very important to understand your food, understand why a certain food behaves in a certain way after you put it out in front of the camera. Because if you don't understand your food, you're not going to be able to communicate what you exactly want to the others on the set. Like, for example, there's a chef or there's a stylist, and your food doesn't look a certain way that you want to be on camera, then you won't be able to communicate what exactly is going wrong with it. So, for example, there's a texture or there's a color that is not looking great.
Great, huh?
So then you have to really tell the kitchen team or the chef or stylist that this is what you need to make it right.
And what about the other aspects? Like food is one.
Yeah.
So
So
there was
in
wedding, and then there
yes.
was all these other domains that you have product and so
So to talk about weddings, I love talking. I love meeting people on a daily basis, and in weddings you meet so many new people every
yes.
day. When you meet a new couple who's getting married, they have different stories, they come from different parts of the world, their careers are different. So this is what excites me every day, and as a filmmaker in weddings, it is so exciting to put that together into a film and tell it to the tell it to the world.
100%. So like one thing you spoke about, like filmmaker and but then it's never a solo battle, right? Like you need a team,
Yeah.
and people management becomes the toughest part when it comes to team,
Yeah.
right? How do you navigate these challenges in your field? Because this is a very it's art, right? It's very subjective.
Yeah.
So how do you choose your team with respect to the tone, or like the creativity? Like what are the things that you look out for when you're choosing your team?
So when I choose a photographer who has to work for me in weddings, that person has to really be a clone of me. Like what kind of a style I work with, that person really has to adapt to it. Of course, every artist and every photographer would
Yeah.
have their own style. But I think when you look at it as one brand, it has to look like one cohesive thing. So I always tell my photographers that you need to stick to a certain style or stick to a certain way of compositions, colors, and all of that. So that is one when it comes to shooters like filmmaker, videographers, and photographers. And then I take care of my team like babies. Like you have to stick
Nice.
around. Come what may, we'll go through all challenges together.
Yeah.
But fortunately, touchwood, people have been with me since the time I've started wedding photography. So since 2011, I have the same set of people working for me. So there are new people who come in and they adapt. But yes, it's very important to take care of your people.
Yeah, that's true. That is so true. Because that is the toughest thing that probably entrepreneurs will face. you
Yeah.
know, managing people. So the bride story sounds like a fascinating venture in itself. Like, could you elaborate what Bride's Diary is about and how it complements your wedding photography services? With like, what was the inspiration behind starting it, and and as a freelancer, to like, I'm sure you must have started as a solopreneur, and then now you have a team. So what
Yeah.
was the journey like from there to like where you're from 2011 to like almost 1.5 decade
So
later?
I'll tell you why the name Bride's Diary. So if you look at the whole wedding scenario, who has the most details of a wedding? If you go to a groom, he will say, I'll ask the bride. If the mom is asked a question, he'll say, I'll ask the bride. So I think the bride has the most important
authority.
details. Authority also, and she has the minutest details. She
Yeah.
plans it so well. So that's the reason the name Bride's Diary. Like she'll have everything documented it so well, and that's what we do. We document every
Amazing.
minute thing for the couple.
Amazing. Amazing. So how important is it to define a clear niche for the and what steps should you build to have a strong brand identity in that specialization? Like, for example, like in music we have a sound generally. An artist will go for a sound of their own. So a photographer or like an artist will go for like a style of their own. So how do you choose that niche? Ki, okay, in food photography I want to go for this I am known for this style. Like, is there something like that?
So if you see my entire portfolio, my style has always been about monochromatic styles. So if I'm shooting a pink colored dessert, you will see all colors and
pink.
shades of pink or red around it.
Nice,
So
nice.
it's most of the times, like people have told me that monochromatic is what your style has been always.
Did you stumble upon it, or like how did it how did you become an expert in that? Like, it just happened, or
It just happened. Yeah.
and like if people want to like carve out something, what should they be trying, or like what should they try to do, or what should they look out for?
Okay, so this is something to do with my schooling. Like in my final year, we were asked to do a lot of assignments where you had to choose between doing product or doing food or doing interiors. So we were always asked to do everything and then see what exactly interests you the most. So I used to try out different things, like do automobile sometimes, do outdoor photography, journalism some days. But I was always, I realized that I was inclined towards food. So when we put up the final year portfolio together, that's when we realized, oh, this is 90% food and there's nothing else.
Nice.
And then another thing we realized was we had about 15 pictures on the panel. And again, 95% of my panel was orange.
Oh,
So then we realized, okay, this is a certain trait or this is a certain
So you have
thing.
to look out for these
Yes.
things that you automatically follow
Yeah.
in your So I want to talk a little bit about marketing and client acquisition. Okay, so you have worked with major giants like Coke is there, Marriott is there, Starbucks is there. How do you approach securing such high profile commercial clients?
So, as I mentioned earlier, I have a lot of friends in advertising. So, mostly it's the agencies that reach out to you with such brands because they are handling their accounts and then
Correct.
they will approach you as a photographer, as an artist to handle or shoot for the brand. And once you enter a certain agency and they start trusting you, I think you have
The ball keeps rolling.
yes,
Yeah.
it's no never looking back, and then you
Yeah.
keep working with the same brand. And even if there are teams changing, they will still trust you with your work because you have worked on a big brand.
Yeah, yeah. So Instagram is of course like the go-to platform when it comes to visual art. So probably in your opinion, what are the key strategies that you have a great following? What are the key strategies that artists should be implementing in using Instagram effectively for their business development to attract probably new clients?
So one thing I followed very like I've always had multiple Instagram pages for different things. If I'm doing wedding, it's only a wedding photography page. As a photographer, it is very important to put out the kind of work you want to do more. Like if I want to do more of food, I should be putting more of food because what people see is what is going to come to you.
Correct.
So wedding clients and wedding audience has to stay separate and the commercial has to stay separate. So I think that's what a few people lack in their Instagram or their social handles is that they have a mixed bag. So people are confused.
Yes.
What exactly is this person
So your
trying to
target
do?
audience is not bifurcated in
Yes.
in,
Yes.
Okay, that gave me a light bulb moment. Because generally what I do is like, so this is related to the personal branding, right? Like
Yeah.
in terms of personal branding, I'll have Instagram and then I'll like have all the things in my personal brand.
Yes.
So and then like people are just like, oh, this. So it's a lot of confusion. So
Yeah.
thank you so much for that insight. So I want to talk a little more on the personal branding. How much does personal branding help? Like you said, you have multiple Instagram pages and you have built your personal page as well, right? Wherein there are a lot of passion projects that are driven onto that. Like you can see a lot of things that you do on day-to-day life over there.
Yeah.
How did you go about building that, and how is it connected with the current business that you also like? What are the linking factors to it?
So when it comes to personal branding and when you look at my page, there are multiple things like I put out a lot of travel stories. I put out a
Correct.
lot of motorsport things. And
Yes.
that's what I think most of the people relate you to how you put yourself out as a person. Like now people know me as a Formula One fan and a traveler. And when it's not work, people actually ask you about these things. And then
Yes.
it makes you look as an interesting person also because it's not just work that you're putting out. People are more interested in your personal
Who
life.
you are, what you are.
And yes, and that I think really helps. People are really interested in understanding what goes behind being a traveler or what inspires this artist. So that's I think what is personal branding.
Nice. Currently, I mean, the world is glued to social media, right? Apart from social media, what are the other channels that photographers or videographers or artists generally can use to get more clients? So are there any journals? Are there any releases, like any PR activities? Like, are there any spaces like this or networking events?
So I think networking events and meetups help much more than promoting anything online because there's so much
In person, yeah.
We see online.
Correct.
But then when you actually go and meet that person, you build a different kind of a trust, a connection.
100%.
And I think that helps better instead of just putting out your work on a daily basis.
What's your general approach towards project management, like client communication? like ensuring just smooth execution of the overall project? Because I know weddings can be very hectic
Yeah.
because you're running on like pure adrenaline and coffee probably. So how do you ensure smooth workflow?
So my general approach has always been I want to develop a connection with my clients. Like if there's a couple, I always want to be the only POC for them.
Okay.
Because if there's another there
Head
are
involved,
10 other teammates speaking to them, we won't establish that bond. Because
Correct.
since I want to tell a personal story from their pictures or from their film, I really need to understand them first. So from the first meeting, I try to understand what is it that they want. And then that's, I think, helps me throughout the whole process. So even if it is editing, even if it is talking to them or understanding smallest of the things from them, it's just me that is the point of contact. Yes.
How have you seen the entire photography business evolve from the, you said you shot on Kodak, from film era to like digital era, where every third person you know has a camera, and every third person you know is a photographer. So how has it, how do you see this landscape evolving? What are the challenges? What are the threats? What are the inspirations?
So I have learned on film. And that time, as much as it was difficult to get the right shot, but it was still that there was so much thought process behind every shot that we used to take,
100%,
because
yeah.
we did not have the liberty to take 100 clicks and then
Exactly,
decide. It
yeah.
was it used to turn out so expensive.
Yeah.
So even one shot was still the final call was the photographers.
Yeah.
Now in the digital era, what has happened is there are 10 people from the agency, 10 people from the client's end. And then it's never the photographer's shot. It's 20 people in one single
It's a
image.
team effort.
Yes.
Nice. So I specifically wanted to ask you this, when it comes to the digital boom. I mean, the equipment has become cheaper. The access to knowledge has become cheaper. With that, a lot of people own gears, right?
Yeah.
With gears, I mean a camera. So, in your opinion, just by owning a camera, do they become a photographer?
So, a couple of days back, we photographers had this same discussion about new people entering the market, and some people undercut or charge very less, and
Correct.
then for a lot of clients, it's coming to it's becoming a price.
Battle.
Yeah, it's a price battle. So the lesser you charge, you get more work. So this is what we were discussing. So eventually somebody said a very interesting thing, that you get a shoe worth $100, you get a shoe worth
Yeah.
$10,000. So it's your choice, like who
Exactly.
wants to choose what. And again, it depends on the quality also. So yeah, the competition and the pricing is going to stay forever. I think it's forever battle for
Yeah.
every I think every field.
Industry. Yeah.
So just stay focused.
But how do you cut through the noise that is there? Generally, like, how do you establish the authority figure in your industry then? And like, what are the steps that you usually take? Or you just...
So usually what I tell, if a client comes to me with a food photography requirement, I tell them that a certain photographer would have only like technical knowledge. But at the same time, you need to understand, like we discussed earlier, you need to understand your subject also.
Correct.
So if somebody wants to be a fashion photographer and doesn't understand fashion at all, not able to communicate with the model, he's an introvert and still wants to be a fashion photographer, which is not really a good thing to have. So that's how I think that's a differentiator for a food photographer, that understand your subject and then you will be able to communicate. So since I have a design background, I have a culinary background, putting this together, I try to sell my craft to people.
Yeah, I mean, so I always think, experience is what, majorly will
Yeah.
and let your work speak for itself, right?
Yes,
And then
absolutely.
you are, and if you have not seen her work, please go see it on all her handles, all her different handles. She has bifurcated it very, very crisply. You will be blown, trust me. Also, I wanted to talk about systems and tools that you have implemented to help you manage the business side. Like, are there any SOPs in place? Key procurement of client. This is what the first step is. This is what the second step is. This is what the third step is. Or is it always different with different clients?
No, I have a certain set of. There's a set process that I have that if there's an inquiry, this is the mail I send out. This is the document I send out. Uh, this is a certain way. These are the certain questions I need to ask before even I send out a quotation. So sometimes, most of the times, I think people come to you and ask for pricing, but without understanding their
Requirements.
products or
Yeah,
requirements,
yeah.
you shouldn't, anybody shouldn't give out just the costing without understanding the whole requirement, because at every point everything changes. It is so volatile, it's
Yeah,
so
yeah.
subject to change, and it the pricing changes every time there's a
Have you been
different
in a
requirement.
situation like this?
Yes, there was there was a
I'm
time
sure.
when
Yeah.
a certain client came to me with a lot of requirements, and they missed out mentioning about a
A
certain
few. Huh,
thing.
huh.
Yeah. And then when I gave out the costing, I give a very detailed document with the inclusions, with the exclusions, everything. And 2 days prior to the shoot, the client realized that, oh, we've not included this. But then they were asking us to work in the same
Budgets.
commercials. So, but then it was not possible. So things can go wrong if you don't
But
document
then,
it and
yeah, but
discuss.
then do you have any contracts in place for such
I
situations?
do, I do. So
Okay.
everything is well documented in every document that goes out to the client.
So now I want to talk about AI.
Okay.
Okay. And how do you take it as an inspiration, as a challenge, as a, because it's rapidly changing our industry. We see I take a shot of like a fruit here, and then suddenly I can place it wherever in the world, whichever background I want. So how is that kind of affecting the business in terms of product and food? And what are the inspirations or the challenges you are facing and trying to overcome them?
So a recent challenge, I'll tell you what I faced about with AI visuals is I had an inquiry about a product shoot, and they wanted us to shoot in 4 days. When I realized they've generated most of the references in AI, it was not practically possible to do the pre-production in 4 days. But I think that's where that's what every agency or every client is doing these days: generate something on AI and expect us to execute the
The
same
same
thing.
thing.
So of course there are pros and
Cons to
cons
it.
to
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
So it is helping us to visualize and put
100%.
together
Yes.
things
Yes.
in a better way.
So your mood board, storyboards are much detailed.
Yes, yes. But then at the same time, we also need to understand that the execution time or the pre production time has to be the same as what it was pre AI.
So do you currently use any AI powered tools in your workflow, and how have they enhanced your workflow, your efficiency, and the creative output that you get?
So I use generative AI in Photoshop,
Okay.
and in terms of food, if you generate something in AI fully, you understand that it's not a real image. So what I've done is to enhance. Like for example, there's a small garnish that I'm not happy with on the set. I can always change it in AI,
Correct.
but then you still need to have that exact same thing put there. Then it'll replace it properly. Otherwise, it'll
Yeah.
give you like it's a matter of trial and error. You sit on the image for hours. Then
Wow.
yes.
Rather take another shot. So for photographers, generally who are currently, especially who are freelancing, what would your biggest advice be to them? Be for them to be successful and step up as entrepreneurs, probably build a team and expand their services like you have. what would that advice be to them?
I think the current need is to diversify, like not stick to one thing. If a certain client comes to you for stills, they would also have requirement for
Videos,
reels.
yes.
If they have both together, they would still want design or
100%.
content to
Yes.
be made. So I think working together as a team with different professionals is I think the way
To
out.
go out. So I also wanted to ask you a little bit about working with Gen Zs. I mean, in my experience, some of the times it's like just mind blown with the efficiency and the speed. And some of the times it's just uh, that responsible or like that factor has always kicked in. How has your experience been working with the younger generation? If you can elaborate on that.
So again, as you said, it's been a mixed experience. Our generation, I think, has taken things. They've worked over us and not get paid for it or not getting compensated for it. But I think Gen Z is trying to change that with a no nonsense attitude that we are going to work 9 to 5 and we're not going to work on weekends and all of that. So that's, I think, a good thing about them.
Yeah.
And the second thing is, I think, as we all know that there are urgencies, there are projects to be completed on time. And I think that's the flip side of not working beyond the working hours.
But I think like culture wise somewhere so it's very like our field is very demanding when it comes to this, right?
Yeah.
Like there are deadlines, there are but how do you kind of cope up with this then? Like how do you motivate your team to deliver at that particular time?
So I always tell people that if you're working in this field, it has to be what the client wants, and then we can't really stick to our ways of working. So
It's
I
not a
think-
usual 9 to 5 kind of a space.
Yes. So when I hire an assistant or when I hire anybody for any shoot, I tell them that even if I tell you that it's going to end by a certain time or in 8 hours, it's not going to happen. So if there are restrictions at your end or at your house or something like that, be prepared or prepare your parents for it, that you will need to work beyond certain hours to excel in this field.
Okay, on the closing thought, I would like to end this podcast with a quick rapid fire round. So I hope,
All set.
Yeah. Cool. Film or digital?
Film.
Okay. Sunrise or sunset?
Sunrise.
Your favorite lens?
100 macro.
Nice. Most challenging client brief you have ever received?
To make food look as bad as possible.
One piece of gear you can't live without?
Again, my 100 macro.
Photoshop or Lightroom?
I think both.
Nice.
Because one helps me with the workflows and the other one helps me with enhancing the picture.
Nice. Best advice that you have ever got about your business?
Sell to the room that will never say you are expensive.
If not a photographer, what would you be?
A driver.
Oh.
And by that, I don't mean a taxi driver or
like
Formula
a
1 driver.
Yeah. Dream location for a photo shoot?
Iceland.
Nice. One word to describe your photographic style?
Monochromatic.
Okay, so studio or location shoot?
Location shoots.
Color or black and white?
Black and white.
Favorite type of lighting? Natural, studio or flash?
Studio. I'm always a fan of studio lighting.
Most memorable your photography travel experience?
Spain.
Spain?
Yeah.
One social media platform that you find most effective for business?
For business, for me, Instagram has worked.
Okay. Print or digital delivery for clients?
Print any day.
Yeah. A brand that you'd love to photograph in the future?
It's Barilla from Italy.
Okay. Biggest myth about being a professional photographer?
People think it's very easy to just click, but there's a lot of effort that goes in the pre-production.
Yes. What keeps you inspired creatively?
My love for travel.
Nice. Super, Amruta. Thank you so much for being here. And this was really, really like insightful. And I wish this conversation continued on like a technical level as well. But for now, we have just scooped it for the entrepreneurship, the people and the viewers. I hope this was insightful for you guys. And if you have stayed for so long, please do not forget to hit the subscribe button and do share it with your photography friends or who want to get from a freelance photographer to like the business of photography. Thanks for watching. I'm Malay, and I'll see you in the next podcast. Bye.